So apparently the TS girl that was accusing Bossman DLOW of hitting her up, she decided to get on social media and claim that it was AI the whole time. Bossman DLOW never hit her up. She doesn't know where it came from, blah, 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 right? Here's how I feel about the situation, okay? I feel that it was him. I feel that the check cleared. I feel that he probably threatened you to, recant your statement. I feel that um he probably wired you some money, cash out you some money, made you sign a disclose flow, and you have to, of course you could take the money, but it probably specifies in the disclose flow that you have to get on social media and basically clear the air, release the rumor, basically, you know, I don't believe for 1 second that it was AI. I don't care what y'all say. It was a couple of females in the comments as well that felt it was true. It wasn't AI, so I thought I was the only one that felt that way. So first of all, Bossman DLOW, DLOW. What's the DLOW for? Like, where? What's with the DLOW? Now I don't know his real name. Um, I've heard a couple of his songs. How it go? I was bad in school. Now there's something send me, and what the cops come and get me. It was kind of catchy. I know I probably said it wrong, but it was like, okay, that's cute. I think that was him. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I said, okay, who is that? And my cousin was like, Bossman DLOW. I'm like, okay. I hope she knew she was talking about, because she won't number 8. So she might have known, she might not. But I mean, I feel that the check cleared. I said what I said. And I feel a lot of the times in the black community, y'all hide. Y'all hide. And I'm not trying to make this a black on white thing. But I told y'all I have a lot of gay guy friends. And they tell me a lot of the times when white men go both ways, they say they bisexual. They don't hide it a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the times they'll tell you. It's been a couple of men that, I thought about, and I caught a little vibe on them. I caught a little vibe on them, not the way they talk, because my gaydar usually doesn't screw me wrong. I could sense that energy. Even if you try to hide it a little bit, I can still smell that energy, you know, um, and I can smell that energy on men and women. And I probably won't even tell you, but like that's how I could tell if a woman is checking me out. I could tell it. I could just tell. I could tell. Like when I told y'all the story about when I was working at the industrial place a couple of years ago, I knew this broad was gonna try me. I just knew. I could just tell. I could tell that energy. So, and I get that energy from Bossman DLOW. I get bisexual, but he hides he hides the fact that he's bisexual. He wants people to think that he's heterosexual, and I don't know, he just don't look straight to me. He just don't. um he gives me undercover punk tease, maybe both ways, and I just get that vibe from it. And I don't know why y'all just don't come out. It's 2025. People are a lot more open. What's the name of that guy? Was it last year? What is the name of that guy? Y'all remember that guy? I forgot they said on Instagram that he had slipped in a TS girl inbox, and then it was like, you remember, it was like a really big thing. I think he was an actor. It was a really big thing when he had slid in the inbox. And everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, he's so cute," and blah 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 blah. and he must be gay. It was a big thing. And then he just came out and he said, okay, y'all, I'm gay. Remember that? Bruh, I remember that. And then out of nowhere, it's just like it was on to the new topic. So you know how they do. When something is hot, everybody talk about it. And then when it's not hot no more, they move on. I remember that. I remember that. I mean, just come out as bisexual. I don't know why y'all act like it's just so hard for y'all to just come out as bisexual. I don't know, but they say a man's pride and his ego, and I guess because in the black community, if you consider a man and you like other men in any way, shape, or form, I guess that doesn't make you a man anymore. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't, I told y'all if I ever had kids and, you know, if I had a son, of course I would want grandchildren. I would want you with a woman. But, my relationship with my child would mean so much more than their sexuality. My biggest thing, I told y'all, long as you ain't out here hurting nobody, you ain't out here, robbing nobody, you out here being a decent person in society, all I can do is tell you, be safe. My job as a mother, if and when I have children, but my job as a mother is to, be here for you, when you're a child and when you're an adult, prepare you for the world, try to remind you, reiterate, be safe. You know, if you did like dudes, I would tell you just be safe. Don't take nobody word on nothing. If they tell you, oh, I got tested, I don't want to hear no, well, they told me they got tested. No, y'all need to go together. And if y'all can't go together, y'all need to go, you need to look at them paperwork and don't let them tell you, oh, they tested you for everything. You got to go get the full panel. Full panel. But you have to do a special request. Because when I go for my annual every year, and keep in mind, I've been celibate since like my early 20s. Okay? But I done let a couple of guys eat me out, But still, but I don't do them, but they do me. But anyway, nonetheless, none of your business. But anyway, you know, you still you ask them for the whole full panel. That's where a lot of people get caught up. Because they don't get the full panel. And the thing is, in today's today in today's society, you got the AI out here, and I know I'm kind of contradicting myself, because when I said I don't believe the AI as far as Bossman DLOW, but I don't, because I feel like he's bisexual. He looked bisexual. He looked bisexual. And when he put D-Lo, I wonder, was he whistleblowing? I'm just saying. Was he sending signals? I'm just saying, child, you'd be surprised. The clout, and he can finally live his, little gay dream as well, if you're following me. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're not, oh well. But I don't know. If I had a son and he was both ways, I would tell him, don't take nobody word on nothing. Condoms, 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 condoms. 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 I remember one time I was talking to a guy, and said, well, if I did let you, it'll have to be 2 condoms. He said, why? I won't be able to feel nothing. I said, I don't play that. 2 condoms. And he told me, he said, well, most girls don't even make me wear a condom. And I said, I see why. He told me, see why what? I said, because the thing is, out here, y'all, you bitches set the bar so low for other bitches. Like, these guys, like, he told me I was whack because I even asked him to wear a condom from get-go. And y'all, let me tell y'all something. I ended up not kicking it with him no more. I ended up not kicking it with him no more, because I was starting to like him a little bit. And keep in mind, he was from Louisiana. So he had the gift of gab, whatever they call that mess. And I could see why a lot of females were attracted to him. And he probably, was able to say whatever he had to say to get what he want. And I said I could see how, and I could see why they, you could pull them in, like reel them in. But this one right here, you ain't gonna do that. I don't play that raw shit. I don't play that raw shit. I don't play that raw shit. I know I got off topic. Y'all know I get off topic a lot, but more of the story, if I had a son, I would accept him the way he is. Because if you don't accept your child, they'll go out in the world looking for love from other people. And my job as your mother, I have to be the person, that stands in the midst, that's going to always accept you no matter what. Does that make sense? So with that being said, one thing, that's why I brought up that guy from, Instagram. Um, One thing I like when he made his little speech and he said, yeah, so what? I'm gay. I like when he said, long as my mama accept me, I ain't worried about the rest of y'all. And I love that. I love that, And see, if I had a son like that, that's the attitude I would want him to have. Because he living in his truth. He ain't worried about it. Did he say he was bisexual? Yeah, I can't remember. But either way, he won't straight. Okay, y'all gotta look up what I'm talking about. I forgot he was an actor, but anyway, I know I'm all over the place, but nonetheless, I do feel D-Lo, Bossman D-Lo. That whole name sounds gay as fuck. Bossman D-Lo, Bossman. Like it sounds gay as hell. It sounds fruity. Um, it sounds fruity as hell. But that's my opinion. I don't believe it with no goddamn AI. I do believe AI exists out here, but I don't think that was AI. I really do believe Boss Man, he thought he was protected. He thought that, the tranny wouldn't, go get clout. Because let's be honest, everybody ain't T.S. Madison. And the reason why I brought it up, because T.S. Madison says on all the time, she never exposes people. She never exposes people. She says all the time it's actors, football players, everybody in her DM. And she'll never expose people. And for the most part, we never see her do it. We never see her do it. But you got to understand, everybody ain't T.S. Madison. Some of these trainers will expose you. They will Sydney Star you. Remember Sydney Star and Chingy? Remember that shit? This is giving me Sydney Star and Chingy. Remember how Sydney Star came out those many years later and then was like, yeah, I was lying, blah, 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 because she wanted to be famous. I wouldn't put it past her, but I still think Chingy, and for real, this is why I say Bossman D-Lo need to come out bisexual. Because if you don't, it's going to murk your career. I think so. I really think so. Cause remember how Sydney Star did Chingy? When the last time we heard from Chingy? And he looked gay. Think about it. The ones with the big chains and shit, for the most part, they be the biggest faggots. Remember Chingy had them big chains in the camera and shit? It's like they trying to, show they masculine, and it's just not giving. I think he a faggot. I think Chingy was a faggot. I said what I said.